Well, in the future, I'm going to make sure I consult my partner here, the all-seeing cat sphinx. He's a rambunctious little guy. I can tell you right now, man. This guy's all that organic food, cat vitamins, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, salmon oil, and all other stuff. But flying. Anyway, the cat is alright, man. He's like a dog. Um, I'm going to talk about the great disconnect. The great disconnect. You call, and I'm not going to put the spiel about the price electronically on silver and the eBay price or some garbage like that. I know there's a little bit of a disconnect there, but I'm also saying there's a disconnect between silver prices the way they are now and what they really should be. And I'll explain that because it's really common sense 101. It is paper silver out there playing a game that's pushing the price down. It was attacked, especially silver, even more so than gold. But gold got attacked more twice in April, more than it did in the 5,000 year history of gold. That's a fact. You know, and let me put it to you this way. Say I was a company producing a product that, everybody wants. It's a hot seller. It's going off the shelves like crazy, and yet my stock price is going way down. What is that telling you? What is that telling you? Could it be that they're doing naked shorts on the market that's driving my price down, that they're actually creating an excess supply of stock? Don't they do this type of stuff? Isn't that what happened to Overstock.com? I don't want to say too much about that, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's exactly what's going on with silver. I know you've been told this a billion times, but there is a disconnect between what really should be going on and what is happening. Um, and yeah, that's what you get for the price. I mean, if you go to sell it, you're going to get spot. That's what you're going to get. It is cold hard reality. But this game, this paper game, this electronic game, it's like a game of musical chairs. I know you heard this garbage before, and it's going to stop. And the wisest of the people, even J.P. Morgan's accumulating metals. A lot of people have been accumulating metals. Like Mark Faber, before he even got to 25% gold, I remember he told me this. I mean, I was listening very careful to his really long, hour-plus long interviews. There was a little snippet in there. He says that many of his best Jewish businessmen that are his friends, says seem to have a very good sense on which way the money direction goes. They're at least 25% invested in gold or mining industries and things like that. So then Mark Faber actually, I don't know if it was maybe because of that, but I always kind of think that Mark Faber added to his position. Now I'll say this. If you could pick the absolute bottom of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, or copper, or aluminum, or zinc, or lead, or whatever, if you could pick the absolute bottom, if capital letters, and you could pick the exact lowest price, yeah, you should go 100% into it then, right? But who the hell can do that, right? So, I mean, just like everybody else that's even the best in the business, even the ones that made the best bets over their lifetime, like Jim Rogers or Mark Faber or whatever, they don't go 100% into anything. That's the way I say it, and you got to tolerate the price movements. Silver has always been an erratic metal. It's always been attacked a lot by the banksters, if you want to say that, because silver's traditionally been known as the common man's money. They don't want they don't want to make the dollar look bad. I mean, that's really what goes on. But I'm going to say this too. You know what the hedge funds are really net long on now? What commodity? Oil. They haven't been more net long on oil since way before even 2000. Even though they lighten up their positions a little bit recently, they're more net long oil. And I don't know if that's because there's this expected attack, after Syria gets the regime change, and then there'll be an attack on Iran. It won't take much to drive the price of oil up. If you have the divide between Shiite and Sunni Muslims in anything, if they want to attack the regime, that the family that's running Saudi, and just hit some of their refineries or pipelines, the price of oil will go flying. I think it can easily go. It's going to spike like crazy, and it ain't going to be speculators. speculators, I think, are in position to benefit from it. Actually, speculators, even since early 2013, as they were net short big time on gold, but as far as the shorts on oil, they were minimalistically short on oil. They were basically net long on oil, and that's been playing out. Now, I want to say something about the kind of gains you might expect on silver, because this is where I'm going to put some big numbers out here, but nothing like what you're going to hear later if this stuff actually starts playing out how I think it is. Because, well, let me put it to you this way. It looks like if you go back years, there's been cycles in the metals, in the commodities. It seems like every few years they've been peaking out. It's like they take a while to go up. They sit flat a long time. And then a few years later, right before they hit their peak, they really take off. That happened in 2008, earlier 2008, like later 2007. The first warning sign was in 2007 when the real estate market crashed. Then the commodities market crashed. Basically, it was oil first in July of 2008. Then it was followed by gold and silver. There was a couple like mini crashes, but it really crashed later. Then it was the general equities, right? And then, it started building up steam again. And in 2010, later 2010, and up to, like, say, 2011, silver and gold, April 30th, 28th, or whatever for silver, gold around the end of August of 2011. But it's every few years. So, we might be sitting flat for a while, and then it's going to take off like crazy. So my warning is to you guys, because I think I'm going to say the Fibonacci point is probably going to be the next high for silver. It's going to be 72 to 75, right around that point. And I would not wait for that that Fibonacci point. And I don't think that's going to be the final high. I think that's going to occur roughly in 2014. I think it's going to be in 2014. But when silver breaks through 50, it's going to have a blast. And I'm talking a little later on. But I see these events coalescing where this is going to happen. What I'm warning you guys is that as soon as it breaks through 50, you're going to immediately hear predictions of way over 100. 100's a surefire bet. It may not be. You got to remember, from 18 to 75 is more than 4 times. Basically, that's a hell of a game. It's like 4.5 times, right? That's a hell of a game. But that's not too crazy with silver because it's an erratic metal. Now, fundamentally, silver should be a little bit higher because of the fuel cost, and I think that's also going to drive things up. But you got to remember this too, that fuel cost, like crude oil, basically I think it accounts for 65 to 67% of the price of gasoline and basically diesel fuel. If crude oil goes way the hell up, which I expect it to, if you think the miners are hurting now, they are going to be really hurting. So the physical silver availability will actually dry up in reality. So the price will go up. It won't really, the physical silver supply will not dry up. It's if that happened. If the price was kept that low. It will not stay that low. It'll start creeping up. But just like silver always acts, it starts going parabolic. And that's where you're going to see all these people coming out and telling you to buy at $60, $65, $70. And because it's definitely going over 100. My guess is, and it is a guess, I mean, I can't say, but I have more faith in Fibonacci than I do in a lot of other things. I think that'll be the next pullback area. And the final top will probably be 2017, $150 to $200 for silver. Now, if it goes past that, I think that's going to be because there's a major conflict that the United States lost, or it was greatly diminished its global power, and lost a lot of its political clout in the world, military clout, economic clout, and then you might see silver go to 500 or something like that, if that happens. But if that's the case, you're probably going to be having a lot more problems than just worrying about the price of silver. I mean, that's probably one reason never to sell all of it. But I will start to sell when it goes solidly above 50. There's no doubt about that. But you in the middle class are probably going to be my buyers, one way or another. So I'm telling you straight up. Right now I got a million people telling me, "Oh, fiat money's the only place to be. You're wrong about silver." And then later on, when silver goes up well over 50, there's going to be a million people telling me you're an idiot for freaking selling some of it. That's what I figure I'm going to get. So I'm going by moi, period. I'm not going to even listen to this garbage, because sometimes I realize I've been right a lot more accurate than, and if I did not get influenced so much, I would have made much better decisions. Much better. So, I don't actually pay attention to any of these silver channels at all. I only get my information from the major media and other analysts out there that are legit in every way. I know there's people out there that are short commodities right now, and there's a reason for that, because China's actually not just having a slowdown, it's having a crash. But there's other factors out there that can actually drive the commodities way up, and I say it's the oil prices. And don't be fooled about Russia's rhetoric about Syria and Iran and all this garbage. If there's a lot of problems in Syria and Iran and oil prices go way up, Mr. Vladimir Putin is going to make $1 gazillion. I mean, he's loaded as it is. He's going to be that much more loaded. And the other interest in it too is, as prices of oil go way up, of course the domestic producers of oil are going to glean a lot more profit in the United States. And also that's going to protect the US dollar, because mostly oil throughout the world is traded in dollars, and that creates a bigger demand for dollars to be held overseas. If the price of oil, say, went down to like $35 to $50 a barrel, there would be a lot of dollars coming back to the United States. And, because that would cause a lot of people not to hold dollars, because they have to have dollars on hand to purchase oil, so they need much less dollars on hand to purchase oil. And see, that can actually create inflation and destroy the dollar. Isn't that weird? The middle class will get hammered either way, because they are people that use energy. They use a significant amount of their income for energy reasons, whether it's for home heating, fuel for the car, and also a more significant amount of their income goes to food, which is very dependent upon energy production. And even the pesticides and all that comes from crude oil products and stuff like that. So silver is not a bad way to protect your money, but like I always said, it's been a very erratic investment, and they don't call it a high risk asset for no reason. But I don't consider it a high risk asset in the current climate, well, especially at this price. I mean, there's people right now say it's going to stay this low and go lower over the next years. I say not at all. But when euphoria goes the other way, I know who's going to be the buyers. It's going to be all the smaller people, the smaller investors. The sky is falling, and I don't know. I guess it's all personal choice, but that's what I'll be doing. I'll be selling at that time. But just do remember that in principle, most of the hedge funds right now, they're still very much net long oil. Net long oil. The 6 bullion banks are now net long gold as of mid-May. Things will probably not start heating up very fast. It depends on events in the Middle East, depends on budget fights. When the drama was out, when the S&P downgraded the U.S. debt to AA from AAA, right? That's when everybody was predicting gold was going to go way over 2,200 easily, right? It was going to easily top 2,000. But you see how I'm saying everything is psychology? Right now the mood is so freaking bad. It's like the majority, let me put it this way, the majority always gets it wrong. It's pretty much the way it is. The majority always gets it wrong. So, I'm actually doing a lot more of these silver videos for a reason, because I want the people that are in silver to hang tough on the metal, and don't be afraid to sell later on. Yeah, and I know you're supposed to buy low, sell high, but it not only is that difficult to do, but it's even more difficult to do when the market is actually rigged in some ways, because gold prices and silver prices were electronically attacked big time in April. They're trying to dissuade the middle class from buying it. Later on, I'd say, the bigger guys that really bought the stuff physically, they're going to be selling it to the middle class at exorbitantly high prices. I do not expect the dollar to fall to oblivion. And that is probably where the middle class is going to be lied to later on. And that is why they'll probably buy silver at extremely high prices, because they're thinking it's the only way out to preserve some of their money, because it's still going to go up. Why did the middle class buy a house that cost $100,000 construction costs with the land, the permitting, and everything else, and pay $225,000 and give a builder $125,000 profit on a house, or 50% profit on houses? Why did the middle class do that? Because there was the anticipation that it would go higher, and they're going to do the same thing with the metals too later on. So keep that in mind for my small audience, because I'm not here to steer you wrong. And the people that are, I'd say right now, there's people that are naysayers that are saying dollar bill, paper, forever. Well, first off, I don't know if it's an honest thing. There's some people that are basically spiteful about it or whatever. They try to taunt people, whatever. I get some of that garbage. But later on, when silver goes way to hell up, you better keep your mouth shut about how much you have, where you have it, and what you have, and all this type of stuff. Because those type of people that were the biggest naysayers in the world will stick you in the back. So watch out. I guess to say that too. Also, if you get rich on something, keep a low profile. Keeping a low profile. I'm going to tell you this even at the end. Keeping a low profile is very smart, because even anytime you deal with anybody, say they're going to help you with something or whatever, they charge different prices. If you say, I've won $1 million in the lottery, they'll adjust their price accordingly. So be careful of what you say, because that is a very, very important part of the equation too. Be shrewd, be silent, run deep, and all that kind of garbage, stay under the radar and all that type of stuff, because once you blab things around, forget about it. That's really a good reason why most people who win the lottery lose it. And that's why they stop giving them lump sum payments in the lottery. Now, when you're in silver, traditionally it's been an extremely erratic metal. In 2017, it probably will get to $250 to $200. I'm expecting it to hit the 75 to 72 Fibonacci point, maybe pull back below 50. Then, other events will bring it up to $150 to $200. Well, that's about a 10 times gain if you bought it from 18, right? And if you put a significant amount of money into it at 18, you're going to have a significant amount of money later on. So, times 10, right? So let me put it this way. You want to keep your mouth shut, and that's because that'll be a one-time lump sum payment. And so you really, really do not want to advertise that, because you'll just be like the fool that won the lottery, and you'll lose your money. So, words of wisdom there, man, big time. So, be careful of who you talk to.